This is the Magdeburg Unicorn, and this is the story of how miners found it. A scientist assembled it, others drew it, and science eventually unraveled the truth. The discovery. It's 1663 in Germany. Miners are quarrying gypsum, and then someone's pickaxe hits something that isn't rock. They are scattered bones. The miners don't know what they are, so they do what miners do. They extract them carelessly. Word of the findings reaches the mayor, Otto von Guericke. The scientist. Von Guericke is the mayor of Magdeburg, and he is one of the most celebrated scientific minds in 17th century Europe. The unicorn was not purely a fairy tale creature. It was a serious category in natural history. Unicorn horns, sold in apothecaries across Europe as powerful medicine, are a legitimate commodity, and the unicorn myth itself is ancient. It most probably originates from encounters with the Indian one-horned rhinoceros in Asia, or with the Elasmotherium, the Siberian unicorn. When von Guericke examines the bones, he sees what he expects to see: a skull with a prominent nasal structure, long, robust limb bones, and among the finds, something long and spiraling that could only be one thing: a horn. The reconstruction. Around 1678, von Guericke assembled the unicorn. We don't know exactly what it looked like in 3 dimensions because the original reconstruction is lost. What we have are historical reports and 2 drawings, the first published by Valentini in 1704, the second published in a posthumous work of Leibniz in 1749. Both drawings show the same creature: 2 legs, a long curved spine, ribs splaying outward, a skull with a single enormous horn projecting forward. But here is what makes this especially remarkable. On the very same page as the unicorn fossil, the Valentini drawing shows 3 things side by side: the fossil skeleton on the left, a mythical unicorn on the right, labeled the fictional unicorn, and at the bottom, a narwhal, labeled the sea unicorn. Leibniz, one of the greatest minds of the Enlightenment, notes that the bones were extracted carelessly by the miners, that some pieces were lost in the chaos of the dig. But the overall conclusion stands: this is a unicorn. The unraveling. In 1769, over a century after the bones were dug up, naturalist Peter Simon Pallas formally described a new species, what we now know as the woolly rhinoceros, and someone, looking at the skull in the Magdeburg unicorn drawings, notices something. That skull looks familiar. Then comes the mammoth. As paleontology advances through the late 18th and 19th centuries, the enormous limb bones in the drawings start to match the emerging picture of the woolly mammoth. And the long, spiraling horn that made the unicorn idea possible seems to match the tusk of a narwhal, the very animal shown in Valentini drawing back in 1704. He had the answer in front of him, and he still didn't see it. The realization dawns gradually, then all at once. The Magdeburg unicorn is not one animal. It is at least 3: a woolly rhinoceros, a woolly mammoth, a narwhal. When scientists properly excavated the Swekenberg site in 1903, they found something remarkable. The site was not just a random fossil deposit. It was a natural trap, a network of karst sinkholes that had been swallowing animals for thousands of years, 26 different species. But then comes a detail that makes everything stranger. Not a single mammoth bone in the entire excavation, which means the mammoth bones in the Magdeburg unicorn almost certainly didn't come from the same sinkhole as the rhinoceros bones, possibly a different time period entirely, today. But what about the remaining bones? The rib cage, the vertebrae, the rest of the skeleton? Those 3 animals are the ones we can identify from drawings alone. In a 2021 academic paper, scientists simply state the original species of the other bones is unclear, and the original fossils themselves gone. The skeleton standing in the museum in Magdeburg today, it's a huge replica based on the historical report and the 2 surviving illustrations. So what was the Magdeburg unicorn really? Animals that had never met in life, thrown together by tens of thousands of years of geological accident, extracted carelessly by miners who had no idea what they were holding. And one man looked at their scattered remains and did the only thing that made sense to him. He built a unicorn.